One more question.
All right.
Because I came in late. With this almost a sellout, or virtually a sellout, we talked last time about bringing more boxing back here and
Yep.
Spence being the face of boxing, or one of the faces. How excited does that make you feel, and to potentially bring more fights to the Star or to Dallas?
Well, the reality is he's really paving the way, not just for future Spence fights, but for future other fights, as well. Now, there have been AT&T Stadium fights before, but there's a special connection with Spence. The challenge has always been sort of who's going to do it first. It's chicken and the egg. How do you can't develop a market until you know there's a market there. I can go to Barclays Center and get this gate. Do I want to take a risk breaking a new market? It's tough. But here, with a hometown fighter, you're now getting a sense to say, look, Dallas can be a fight town, and that's something that will carry on far beyond Spence fights.
I noticed.
All right, guys.
Let me ask one question.
We spend a lot of time with Steven. You spend a lot of time
No, I
with
love
Steven.
Steven, though. I love
We
Steven.
can do more tomorrow. You want to do more tomorrow?
One last one.
If he says it's all right.
Okay.
They're good questions.
I noticed Adrian Granados, you guys had some affinity for one another.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the side of boxing that we don't see? I mean, I'm fortunate that I get to see this side of the caring part of Stephen Espinoza and Showtime and fighters and Showtime. Can you speak to that so the fans can get a broader
Yeah, I mean, I say it like, again, we don't like to play favorites, but, we're all humans too. And Adrian is, because of his backstory, because of what he's done, both in and out of the ring, you just want to pull for him. And he's a guy who, you look at it, I mean, he's an incredibly tough fighter. He fights his, butt off every fight. He's lost by a hair, the slimmest margin. And, it's tough. And, you can see him, heartbroken, but he comes back and he'll take any fight. He's way smaller than Sean Porter, and he fought his butt off. So he's one of those guys, 6 losses makes no difference to me. I do have affinity. I think he's, a really great kid. He's entertaining, in the ring. And had he signed with, a big promoter, his career is probably going a different way. But he didn't have the big promoter. He was the opponent. You end up with some losses and get the short end of the stick, and all of a sudden you're here. But you're right. Like, I do have a soft spot in my heart for him, and I root for him, and I'm happy to put him on, happy to give him this opportunity.
And it's not just Adrian Granados. I mean, I've seen you before fights and after fights and during fights be very candid and open with other fighters.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, I can't, not connect with fighters, at least try to. Because if I were in their shoes, I would want to hear from, have some relationship with a guy who's got an important influence over my career. I don't want it to be some guy in an office in New York who's making decisions that I've never talked to, don't know who he is, what he likes. So there are going to be decisions I make that are unpopular. I can't, please everybody. But I'd like the guys on our network to understand that we see them as people, not as assets, not as fighters, but as people who have goals and feelings and desires and have disappointments just like everybody else in the world.
What do you think was the Hail Mary that got Canelo Golovkin 2 done?
Good question.
If
I could, I think it was a long game of chicken, and I think it's a really interesting part of negotiations is how far do you push that? And you can push it too far, you can push it not far enough. This one, I think, and not just from what everyone said, my sort of sense of it, like gut feeling was they pushed it right to the brink, both sides. I don't think it could have been pushed anymore. There wasn't another financial arrangement. I think they were both sick of it, and it got closed at the right time.
Was that a really long answer, or was that 2 questions? That's it. That's it.
Who do you think wins that one? Canelo or Triple G?
I thought Triple G won the first one, but look, Canelo's strong. He's got youth on his side. It's a toss-up.
The guy loves to talk boxing. What can I tell you?
All right, guys.